Unfezant, I choose you!
Hi, I'm Professor Silver, and today I'll break down the history of Ash's Unfezant, detailing her transformation from an adorable little Pidove into one of the most controversial Pokemon Ash has ever owned in his 25-year journey. Prior to meeting Ash in the episode Enter Iris and Axew, Pidove's life revolved around little more than grazing and foraging for food. Ash decided to catch her early on in his Unova journey, as he wanted to replace the Sinnoh Pokemon that he had left behind with Professor Oak. Among her flock, Pidove stood out as the only one not afraid of Ash's presence. Her capture was similar to a wild encounter in the video games. That's because before meeting Ash, she didn't get any focus, and her initial interaction with him consisted of accepting his challenge to battle Pikachu. Despite enduring several of Pikachu's attacks, resisting Ash's Pokeball, and showcasing a visually interesting moveset, Pidove ultimately succumbed to Pikachu's advances. She was captured by Ash's Pokeball following a powerful Thunderbolt. Like Ash's other regional birds, Pidove displayed unwavering loyalty after her capture. In her first battle, she bravely confronted Meowth and gave her all against Woobat. Because she was fatigued from her fight with Pikachu, though, she lost to Gust. That said, her devotion to Ash was clear. Pidove's value as a flying type became evident in subsequent episodes thereafter. Using her scouting abilities, she found Darumaka in saving Darmanitan from the bell, and tracked Snivy for Ash, and Snivy plays hard to catch. Her moment of glory came after Snivy used a track to subdue Pikachu, Oshawott, and Tepig. Pidove, being female and thus unaffected by attract, fearlessly stepped forward and volunteered to join the battle in their stead. During the battle with Snivy, Pidove resisted or dodged near every attack aimed at her and did major damage using Gust, Air Cutter, and Quick Attack. Pidove's performance was so stellar that Ash made another go at catching Snivy. Although Snivy initially broke free from the Pokeball, Pidove's unrelenting assault with Quick Attack and Air Cutter eventually led to her capture. Despite her prowess, Pidove's luster dulled in her next few major appearances. First off, her Air Cutter was no match for Trips, Frillish, and his Water Pulse in a rival battle for Club Champ. Her next appearance in a home for Dwebble was little more than scouting. Lastly, she was made to flee in tears after being hit by Ash's Scraggy's headbutt and Scraggy hatched to be wild. The one silver lining of that episode was that as a show of good faith, Pidove, alongside her friends, still protected Scraggy from Galvantula. After being briefly deposited at Professor Juniper's lab during the events of Sewaddle and Berg in Pinwheel Forest so that Ash could finally tap noggins with Sewaddle, Pidove once again stepped into the spotlight a few episodes later in a Venipede stampede. Ash used her to herd the Venipede, overtaking Castelia City into one of the city's park centers. During the crisis, she was saved from one of the Venipede sludge bombs by Trip and his male Tranquil. After she randomly evolved into Tranquil herself, she gained a significant boost in attack power. Thanks to her supercharged usage of Gust, she and Trip's Tranquil were able to join forces in herding the last of the Venipede. Following the evolution, Ash's Tranquil continued to be an invaluable asset to him as he journeyed throughout Unova. She went scouting in Cottony and Love and Scraggy in the Demanding Gothita, battled Woobat and Yamask in a UFO for LGM, and helped teach a recently revived Archon how to fly in the episode Archeops in the Modern World. When Team Rocket attacked Archon the day after it evolved, Tranquil also offered her defense. Furthermore, in an amazing aerial battle, Tranquil starred at the Miss Charlton gym battle. Opposite Skyla's Swoobat, she traded Air Cutter for Air Cutter, led off Gust, put on the pressure with Wing Attack, and claimed victory with another Air Cutter. Her next opponent, a male Unfezant, dodged Quick Attack and sowed Exhaustion with Air Cutter, so she returned to her Pokeball and conserved her energy. She returned to the field only after Ash had no other Pokemon and needed her help against Swanna. Swanna took major damage from Quick Attack and Air Cutter, but countered Gust with Hurricane. Rather than accept defeat, however, Tranquil gathered all her strength and evolved into Unfezant. Evolution granted Unfezant extraordinary flying abilities. As a result, she had little issue following Swanna skyward, withstanding Bravebird, jetting around the stadium, and unveiling Aerial Ace. Using the newly learned attack, she won the battle and earned Ash the Jet Badge. She tried to replicate her success at the Verbank Gym in the episode Rocking the Verbank Gym, but couldn't muster enough power to beat gym leader Roxy's Koffing. Although Unfezant landed Quick Attack and deflected Will-O-Wisp, Koffing dodged Air Cutter, fired off Sludge Bomb, dispersed Clear Fog, and triumphed with Gyro Ball. In the interlude between Ash's gym battle with Roxy and the Unova League, Unfezant flew Pikachu into battle against the forces of nature in Unova's survival crisis, and teamed up with Silence Pansage to battle a Drilbur and Braviary in a surface-to-air tag team battle. Drilbur and Braviary nearly won the showdown using Drill Wing, Brave Dig, and Aerial Claw, but Pansage and Unfezant ultimately won the match by executing Quick Dig, dodging Fury Rock, and landing Solar Beam. During the league itself, in the episode Cameron's Secret Weapon, Unfezant fought Cameron's Riolu. She did her best, but Riolu ultimately won the showdown. After it dodged Gust, it leapt onto Unfezant's back and unleashed a flurry of Force Bombs. Unfezant fought back with Air Cutter, but Riolu retaliated with Copycat, followed up with Vacuum Wave, intercepted Aerial Ace, and emerged victorious with Circle Throw. In spite of the loss, Unfezant rebounded in new places, familiar faces. Using Air Cutter and Aerial Ace, she respectively defeated Team Rocket's Amoongus and Frillish. After again beating Frillish and Amoongus, this time in the episode The Name's End, Unfezant was sent to Oak's lab so that Ash would have the space he needed to return Charizard to his team. Professor Oak thought Unfezant was a stellar choice to send back to the lab in the episode Fires of a Red Hot Reunion, as he thought she would make for a great addition to Staraptor and Swellow's races. Despite Black and White continuing for many more episodes, Unfezant never once returned to Ash's team during his travels through the rest of Unova or the Decalore Islands. It wasn't until the final episode of the series, The Dream Continues, that Unfezant finally reunited with Ash. During the episode, she celebrated his accomplishments, helped blast off Team Rocket, and bid him farewell. Rather than continue with Ash to Kalos, Unfezant settled in at Oak's lab. She didn't appear in XY or Sun and Moon, but made several comebacks and journeys. First off, in Friends, Rivals, Lend Me Your Spirits, she greeted Ash's new Pokemon, trained with Dragonite, and cheered as the Pokemon battled. During the Masters 8, Unfezant cheered for Ash, encouraged Pikachu during his Vision Quest, and celebrated Ash's victory. Unfezant wasn't seen on Ash's team during the To Be a Pokemon Master series, but she briefly appeared at Oak's lab so as to help him find a Charmander in the Rainbow and the Pokemon Master. While this may never be confirmed, it's safe to assume Unfezant is back in position as a rotating reserve. As that concludes Unfezant's history to date, let's get to her battle record. Unfezant won against Ash's Snivy, Skyla's Swoobat, Skyla's Swanna, Soren's Braviary, Rocko's Drilbur, Jessie's female Frillish, and James's Amoongus. She lost to Pikachu, Jessie's Woobat, Trip's male Frillish, Roxy's Koffing, and Cameron's Riolu. Move-wise, Unfezant used Gust, Quick Attack, Air Cutter, Wing Attack, and Aerial Ace. Compared to Swellow and Staraptor, Unfezant was a massive disappointment. Her main character traits were her loyalty to Ash and ability to fly. She had no major episodes of focus and a very lackluster moveset. Her portrayal was especially disappointing, as Elan's battle with Ash proved that Unfezant can be downright awesome when given the chance to shine. Had Unfezant been given a rivalry with Trip's Tranquil, her storyline would have been far more impactful. An aerial showdown between the two of them at the League would have made for a great opening battle before Ash and Trip finished things up with Pikachu and Superior. All in all, Unfezant isn't terrible per se, she's just massively underdeveloped and far less interesting than Noctowl, Swellow, Staraptor, and Talonflame. On that final note, class is adjourned. My name again is Professor Silver. Until next time, catch you later.